Hannah Oli, Pop Rock Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Rock Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hits från Sverige och ni lyssnar till Pop Rock Radio med Jamie Roxx.
I hope people are enjoying, probably not seeing anything, I don't know, but...
No, I'm sure it's coming through in
it looks like
high-def fabulous.
It's looking like everything's working okay anyway. Yeah, so welcome to... No, hang on, it's you're the interviewer.
We can do either one, do both.
Shall I interview you instead?
Well, I think, why don't we do it together?
Yeah, so what got you started in doing radio interviews then?
I'll tell you, it's interesting. I'm a painter by trade. I paint pictures of people. It's how I make a living. I used to live in Southern California. And so what that means is the people that were interested in my art were hanging out at these high-end clubs. And so I was hanging out there just to meet these people to sell them art. And then I moved from I had a moment of clarity and realized how much money I was spending living in Southern California. And I moved to all over. I spent a year traveling around, visiting friends, trying to see where I wanted to land. And I wound up visiting a go dancer I used to know from LA in Florida. And she said, come to Florida because I know you'll never come. Just stop in and for a couple of days. You work for yourself. You can do that. And I said, yeah, you're right. I can. So I did. We went to a club and I met my now wife at this club. And yeah, that was 15 years ago. And the weird thing is when I moved to Florida, all of my old clubbing friends from all over were like, well, what are you going to go to the clubs in Miami? And I'm like, no, man, I've got a girlfriend. That's how you lose a girl hanging out in nightclubs. That ain't a road to success with that. So they're like, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. And then a friend of mine who was in terrestrial radio, had been for years, said, I think this podcast thing is going to start going off. So he got me on that path. I said, I've never done anything like that. I thought I had a horrible voice. Whenever I'd hear my voice, I'd just cringe. It's terrible. And everybody seems to say, no, you've got a great voice for this. And yeah, it just kept happening. And we're at episode, we still do the audio. We convert this to, we just post it as audio in addition to the video. But this is episode 1,450 something. I don't know. I can't keep track. But yeah, it's crazy. And again, started doing that in 2013. That's a long time ago. How about you, Derek? How did you? Now you're a performer. Let me ask you. When you were a young lad, I don't know, cruising around doing young lad stuff.
About 2024 time when I was just a teenager.
Yeah. Did you know that future laser beam sci-fi rock star, was that the plan? Did you know something in entertainment?
No, the thing is, I know throughout much of my early life, I was, in fact, I still am in certain ways, rather on the shy side. I still have that issue in that I generally don't talk unless I'm talked to, so to speak. I also have had issues sort of bringing myself to give out flyers to people. It sounds incredibly stupid, I know, but it's sort of weird sort of hang up, despite all this sort of glamour and everything that I do now. But it's sort of even after all this, it still tends to be a little bit awkward to force myself on people, so to speak.
No, I get it. You know,
why am I upside down? Honestly,
I don't know. You're upside down.
There.
No, there you go.
These things happen.
I have a lot of friends that are in the comedian world. They doing stand-up comedy and stuff like that, and they all are very similar to what you're saying, except when they're on stage, like they're when they're on. You know what I mean? And it's work and it's blah blah blah. But when they're off, I'm thinking of my friend Marcy. She's great when she's on stage. You get her off stage at a party and she's a wallflower. You know what I mean? It's hard to draw her out. I think that's just an entertainment thing, an artist thing.
I've
I've seen your live
fine.
videos. You're amazing, by the way.
Well-
You're not a wallflower by any
No,
means.
the thing is, on stage, it's like something I've often said, and many people will know it from me, that I've said this, that it's in some ways for me. Oh, I forgot I was going to wear at some point wear my nice visor.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's part of this image sometimes. It's how I usually
Yeah,
start
it's
things off. Yeah.
awesome.
So I get distracted. Anyway, let's get the fabulous makeup back on screen again. Anyway, yeah, it's to my mind. So the way I see it is like the stage. I understand everything. It's like my zone of control. Everything is permitted. I know what's what and what's happening. It's me in control. Whereas like even it's incredibly stupid, but even asking someone who works at a supermarket where something is in a supermarket is I got the hang up about that, and it's really stupid. Just this idea that I just don't ever want to not have permission to talk to people, so to speak, and even though in a supermarket or whatever it is implied, so to speak, that they are there to be talked to, it's still I in a way don't understand the rules of engagement, so to speak, and so it distresses. But this is fine, as you can tell. I'm totally fine at talking to people.
Oh, yeah.
I've established that contact and everything. Totally good there. And hello to Gwen,
Well,
now watching live.
a lot of kids, younger folks that I deal with, I mentor in the art world some youngsters, some younger people. I'm an old man who want to do better at that in that world. And everybody, I would say everybody under 30 hates talking on the telephone. They're exactly like you. They don't like talking to people. They'd much rather text. Don't call, text. And I try to explain to them in the art world, I'm like, that's great. But if the person who owns a gallery is my age, that ain't going to work. So you're going to have to figure something out. Maybe go see them in person. I don't know if that would be better. I don't know.
Yeah.
That explains probably why you're so relatable to that young crowd.
Well, I'm not. I wish I was. Gwen all have me guts for garters as when I see, but I as much as I mean, you seem to get it and enjoy. The thing is, I know I face a bit of a problem in that see Doyle Band really as more a sort of performance troupe, so to speak, and even it's often just me as well. And the thing is, I don't stick to any style sort of thing. What you're going to be playing in this is what I released around 2020, and the videos I did for Goth City when, due to COVID, everything was cancelled, so we couldn't do live. I think it was 2021 I did the videos on. I can't remember now. It might have been 2020. But so they did a virtual event as opposed to hosting it actually in a place. But I gathered outside with other people who are in my band, or at least are sometimes, and we recorded those videos here in Doncaster, and I just felt like the area was just nicely futuristic looking, with the new development.
Very
yeah, I mean, it's quite new. That it's only been around, like some of that was still being built around there when I was doing the videos. But yeah, and
I watch those videos and I imagine you've got a whole crew and a director and everybody, and they've cordoned all the people. No backup, people you shot.
We would have struggled to get away with that had it not been COVID times, probably, because even then there were some sort of homeless people in the background who were a bit annoyed we were disturbing the peace. But I borrowed like a Bluetooth speaker from a friend, my friend Jamie in Sheffield. Hello, Jamie, if you happen to watch this. And my friend Alan Morgan, who is a brilliant artist as well, by the way. I do recommend checking out Alan Morgan Art on Facebook. But Alan was indeed doing the camera, Gwen, yes. Nice. But I'd scoped out the location beforehand, and I thought, yeah, this will be a nice place. And certain areas I'd known for a long time, and it's all filmed in a very small sort of area.
Yeah, but it's fantastic.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And the thing is, I edited those videos together in less than a week. It was I didn't look at them the day after I'd recorded them in case they were horrible, sort of thing. But like they were recorded on the Sunday, and then 2 days later, I finally managed to pluck up the courage to watch them, and I thought, oh, I actually look quite good, didn't I? I was quite pleased with that, and I thought I do think the videos are quite effective. And to say I sort of did them on absolutely no budget, and the funny thing is, I actually borrowed, so to speak, a phone, Google Pixel 3a, from which allows you to buy something and return it within about 2 weeks, roughly. So I did that to get a nice fancy phone to record it on. And so as I say, the funny thing though with Doyle Band is, though there's that element, I've got a very goth mode of being as well, which is what I'm tending to focus on right now. The short dark wig that I wear for the goth kind of thing.
The blue and dark.
Yeah, the sort of main Doyle Band profile image. It looks like blue hair, but it's just blue light on the dark wig.
I see.
It's just a dark wig reflecting blue light. But yeah, I enjoy using the band, so to speak, to offer a performance troupe, just as the way you may get a theatre group. They put on different plays. So that's the way I tend to view it with Doyle Band. And I realize, I don't know, it's a bit weird, and I don't know if people truly quite understand how the way I view the band is a method of performance, and I do different plays each time.
Cool.
I've got the more punky side, and I've got the gothy side, and I've got the sort of electro side, and that sort of the more sort of futurist side, which is what you're going to be playing on the show, because I know you were fond of those videos. And
you know me, I'm a sci-fi nerd.
Yeah. I am too. It's just I like lots of different things, and I don't like to separate. I want everything. That's the trouble. I struggle to be just one thing, and I find that awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that is why maybe some people haven't necessarily latched on so much. I don't know.
I am that way, and they tell you, like in art school and stuff, they hammer this into you. They're like, you have to pick a style and stick with it, and blah blah. And I'm like, I'd rather be good at it all. And I'm not doing that because I'm not feeling that. Some weeks I'm feeling abstract. Some weeks I'm feeling glamorous women up to no good. Some weeks I'm feeling cyberpunk.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because over the years, I've got collectors and fans of all of those. And sometimes I'll just not pay as much attention to one as I should. And then I'll start getting email. My wife calls them DMs, but I guess that's what they're called now. I still call them emails because I'm an old man. But I'll get messages from people, and they're like, when are you going to paint a horror painting? What the hell? You haven't painted one in 4 months. And I'm like, really? It's been 4 months? And I look, and I'm like, oh, yeah, shit. It has been. I get it. But the cool thing as an artist is you can hit all these different things, and you're this mechanized chameleon, and the world is like that. The world is convulsing and changing all the time. And so I think you're very indicative of the time, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if I am or not, but it's the way I am, and that's just the way of things. And I can't really necessarily do a great deal to change that. It's just the way I have a habit of behaving. And
that's a good thing. Hey, you're not tying women up in underground bunkers or anything.
No.
You know, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
It's got to be an advantage.
We've all watched those crime shows. I was talking to my wife the other day about some of the paintings I've done, and I wonder how many serial killers collect your artwork. The FBI is going to show up someday and say, hey, we raided this basement and there was a bunch of your paintings in there. I don't know. I just sold them on eBay. Don't look at me. As long as people don't start copying the paintings. One of the things that I like about your music is you do a lot of fantastic covers. Frankly, a lot of the covers you do, I hear, I watch, and I go, that's how that should have been done in the first place.
It's very nice of you to say so. But I certainly think Yes Sir I Can Boogie is definitely one. That's proven rather a good hit in the live performance.
And it's great. The video you have for that is I wish we could play it. You know what? I'm going to blast it out everywhere after we get done on all my social media. I did once, and I'm going to do it again because it's so phenomenal. Because you've got almost this G.G. Allen start to it. You're covered in blood and entrails. And
that
you know, and
came about
such a pretty disco song.
That's my sort of daft sort of perversity, so to speak, in so far as I used to do quite often a cover of Skinny Puppy's Assimilate, where I would take a knife to my head and seemingly, shall we say, get covered in blood. Did I really or not? Who knows? No, of course I didn't. It was always fakery, but hey, it looked good.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I would do that, and then after doing something so dark and wild, to then do a camp cover song and then flirt with men in the audience whilst I'm covered in blood. It's all about breaking the rules. I just, in many ways, I wanted to dispel the whole aspect of, I'm such a cool rock star, so to speak. I wanted to destroy any sort of, if you like, in a sense, pretense of cool that might have been built up by doing something utterly stupid and ridiculous afterwards.
It's so great too, and one of the things I do like in it is you kept you sang it the way it was written, baby. You kept all the gender references, original and whatnot.
And it's so much fun to go up to various men in the audience and disturb them by grabbing hold of them whilst you're covered in blood and hugging them. And
when I hear a cover of a song and the band hasn't done that, they change all the hey gal to hey gal.
Yeah, that would be boring. There's no.
It just turns me off. I'm like, I don't even want to listen to it anymore. I'm like, you don't even have the balls to respect it that way. I don't know. Matter of fact, how we met is I was doing my morning blog. I do a blog every morning. And I'll, there'll be somebody's birthday. I think it was Phil Oakley's birthday or somebody. And I was looking on YouTube.
Oakley, not Oakley. It's not.
Oakley. And you're right. And I looked it up. I was looking for a cool Human League cover because I mean their videos are cool. Yeah. But I'm like, I want something different. I want something with pizzazz, with the spark for this blog post. You came up on YouTube, and I said, "Holy shit, this guy's fantastic! Look at this, is amazing! I'm blown away." And I think then I went to Facebook, looked you up, and just messaged you. And here we are. It was so funny. My wife was making fun of me. I'm glad you made a friend that likes the same messed up music. My wife's 15 years younger than me. She likes all that new metal corn, which is fine. It's got its place. But
it's not my cup of tea either. I do all manner of things. And many sort of new band and that sort of thing that I do enjoy. I enjoy a bit of Taylor Swift. I think her Christmas song is absolutely spectacular. But I love some of the 1989 quite a bit of the 1989 album. I love pop music, and I love something dark quite often as well, and something noisy. It's just I don't want, and I hate how some people's very narrow and restrictive in what they can
genre.
Yeah, I just want whatever excites my mind, and that's I guess why Doyle Band is as peculiar as it actually is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When people ask me, and they do all the time, they're like, what kind of music are you into? What's a thing here that people do? And I always have this what I thought was very witty and flip response. I always say, I like good music. That's what I like. And they're just like, oh, Jesus Christ, this guy's an artiste. I get it. But your music is really good, no matter what you're doing. Like I said, Yes Sir I Can Boogie. Folks, watch that video. I'm going to be posting this everywhere as soon as we're done the show because it is fucking amazing. It is amazing. It's like watching Alice Cooper do a disco track But
Yeah, what the world actually really needs, it needs someone who does both sort of dark industrial stuff and goth and all that sort of thing, but also, yes, sir, I can move. It has proven a ridiculously popular live.
and your guitar player in it, his name,
Kelly,
but
who's
he's
also in the
what it,
fabulous new band I'm Imperfect. Strongly recommend you.
nice.
Yeah,
That's a
very
good
good
name.
name. It's a lot
That's
better name, I think, probably than Doyle Band, because there's no one in the band called Doyle, and it's not really exactly a band. It's just my project to prat about with.
performance.
And
Yeah,
sometimes
no,
it's
he's
just
great.
me.
He's disco
Yeah.
dancing in that video. It's fantastic.
Sometimes it's just
And the
me,
gal you've
sometimes
got,
it's
the
three of
woman.
us. And the lineup is different practically every time I go and perform live, much as the set list will be almost different pretty much every time. But
I love your guitar player.
it's
He kind of reminds me when I was a kid, way back in the day, a million years ago, MTV had come out. We would sit, and everybody thinks, all these young people think MTV was very cool back in the day. And they would play a cool track every so often. But man, you had to sit through hours of absolute shit before they would play that. And there was a lot of Lionel Richies before there was internet. I mean, that it was a drag, but, and not the fun type of drag, folks. No, it was just terrible. But I remember seeing this band, Tears for Fears, and I was very impressed with them. I went out and bought the Hurting. Hey, if you're goth or emo, as the kids over here today say, and you want a depressing album, go get the Hurting. Every track on that is, if you're potentially going to harm yourself, don't get that track. Get the opposite of that track, because that track is depressing.
No, I
or
don't.
the album
No,
is.
sometimes
But
I
they
think
can't.
sometimes for me, if I'm feeling sad, sometimes I like to listen to something sad as it's a
Because
relief
somebody
to
is
get.
feeling it.
It allows purging of
I
it,
get it.
if you ask me. And sometimes you need that sort of enhancement to the feeling. I don't know. I've got a friend who also has also done some fabulous music as the Alpha video, and his daughter now does some incredible music as well. He has always said he absolutely can't listen to anything dark when he's not feeling good. He's always got to listen to some pop. But
Some
I don't know,
people like
sometimes
that.
when I'm feeling down, I can't necessarily listen to pop music. I don't know, it's just each to their own, obviously.
I remember being a little kid. I was in high school, maybe middle school. I don't know, whatever grade you're at, like 14 in. I had my first big heartbreak. Ew, the ones that really hurt. That first one is terrible. And I was walking around the house, my parents' house, feeling very sad and low and long-faced. And my father said, "What the hell's wrong with you? What happened?" And I'm like, "Oh, me and this gal, Christine was her name. Me and Christine, we
Was she a
broke
banana
up."
split
He
lady?
goes, "Oh, you feeling?" Yeah.
Was she a
He's
strawberry
like,
girl?
"Oh, you feeling low?"
Christine.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, she looked more like the red light. But so yeah, I got sidetracked. No, my father said, "Oh, you're feeling low." He goes, "Here, let me." He goes, "You're the first person to go." I said, "No one's ever felt the way I feel, Dad. I got to be honest with you. It's never happened before. This is terrible." And he goes, "I'm going to introduce you to. I know you don't like this country music, but this is more Western music, in the country and Western vein. His name's Hank Williams. He's felt like what you're feeling." And I said, "What are you talking?" He put on an album, and I'm like, sat and listened to it, and I'm like, "Yeah, Hank gets it."
So
I
he
didn't
liked
feel so
both
bad,
types of
you know?
music then. He liked both types, country and Western.
That's right. Oh, that's the best ever.
It was mine. I feel like I've
I love it.
experienced some of
love it.
those moments a bit like in Blues Brothers, frankly. And
I'm telling you, I've never broken out in song, but I'm not a musician. You probably have. It's probably Disney at your house sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah, and she is
Prince and a
watching right
Princess?
now. Hello, Gwen. And we do live, regrettably, in different countries. She's over there. And you might have noticed behind me, I'm being terrible.
Yeah, look at that. Did
No,
you paint
it's
that?
painted by Michael
you know?
Woolley, I think his name is, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
Gwen bought it for, I think it was Christmas she got it done, and this was recently blown up to extra large size for Valentine's Day for us to have it on the wall.
That's awesome. But at least you guys are living in a time. Now,
Yeah,
I
was just saying,
always
like,
hear a lot
she's
of
over
people,
there in sort of St. Louis, Missouri sort of area, and I'm over here in Doncaster, and obviously right now she'd
on
she'd
the other
very
side of the
much like to
planet.
be here much more
But
than there right now with everything that's going off there with someone making America terrible again.
I'm telling you, Derek, I am sitting 20 minutes south of where his castle is, his home base. I live down the road from him.
Incredibly, we share the same birthday, but obviously not birth date. But yes, he's born on the 14th of June, and so am I, regrettably. And Boy George is, but Boy George is the one who influenced this makeup. It's largely a copy of some of the makeup he did for Blitz days. I totally stole it.
He is fantastic. Me and the wife went and saw him. That was a couple years ago. Everybody thinks, I can't even believe I'm going to say this on camera. I've got this crazy dog and I love her to death, but I am friends with all these big trance DJs, and I know Derek, I know all these cool people like Derek. So you would think the music in our house is constantly just nonstop coolness. And my dog isn't into it. She likes adult contemporary, middle of the road. So there's a radio station when she's acting up. I put the radio over the radio station on, and it's the night.
This is why cats are so much better than dogs, because you need to get rid of the dog and get a cat, because Gwen's fabulous Sammy cat. That's good. Just get rid of the dog and you'll be fine. The fabulous Sammy cat.
We got too much damn money in this.
I've got to mention the fabulous Sammy cat of St. Louis who lives with Gwen. You can't interrupt talking about the magnificent golden glory that is Sammy cat. He's got good taste in music. He always comes rushing over when Gwen's got Doyle Band on a live stream. He says just now his favourite band is Doyle Band, followed by Sisters of Mercy. So you see, this is why cats are so much better. Is it just no to dogs? That's what we want.
I'm telling you, but because I had that radio station on, they were having a radio contest, and they were giving tickets away. There was a concert of all these bands from the 80s, and they do almost like a festival type thing, but it was sad in a way. But anyway, you had to call on this number, and I called and I won the tickets. So I said, that's a good thing. I've got tickets for the wife. We'll go to this concert thing. But the headliner was Boy George. She lost her shit over that. She was so happy. So we go, and it's 11 bands. And it was weird because they had Katrina from the Waves. Not
the
Katrina
Waves left
and the Waves. It was
Katrina and the Still Waters.
Yeah. And When in Rome played, and they had to pull them off the stage because they wouldn't get off the stage. Like their big hit, what was it, Friend or something? I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, they did a 17-minute version of that, and everybody's okay, we get it. Come on, on to the next. But yeah, we saw Boy George. And she was so happy, and I was the good husband of the day. She was very pleased. She thought,
do you want to talk about how fabulous I am? Gwen's saying I'm perfect. She's an idiot. Does she know? Both idiots. Gwen is. But she's trying to claim I am, honestly. The thing with performance, to me, it's about. It's not meant to be so much necessarily directly about, oh, I'm amazing. It's about performance. I'm putting on a show. And this isn't necessarily exactly me, even though I'm being me in our chat here. This is, in effect, something I put on to present. It's something I create to present to people. This is my art, so to speak. I might not paint or anything, but I paint my face. And to me, I feel I'm always disappointed when, say, I hear band that sounds quite good and they look incredibly boring. Oh, Gwen says she thinks that I'd be hard pressed to find a shorter skirt or higher heels, which is true.
Oh, there you go.
But it's quite
No,
funny.
it's so
I
true.
think it was for
I felt that
Christmas
way.
she bought me a skirt, but it turned out
That's a good
I'd
girl.
ordered exactly the same skirt as well. So
Ah,
we often
great minds. That's
yeah,
why
yeah. I
you
mean,
guys
I've
are
got people
because
say
you're
we look
thinking
the
alike.
same as
You know?
well. There is that. I mean, the thing is, when we like announced that we were a couple, people were like, "Oh, get a DNA test."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny. I read somewhere that they have some phone app in what was it, Iceland, I think, where because the population's small and related, that you can test on your phone if you're
Yeah.
related when you meet somebody.
Yeah,
But
probably a good
I guess
plan.
you'd be
But,
glad that. Yeah. Let's play a track. I was going to say that before I forget. When you were saying that about it's so true. I grew up in Detroit, the birthplace of techno music. There was all these cats from Europe coming over to learn how to do this. I remember I met Night Sareb at a club, hanging out with some of my techno friends. But I'm like, oh, I love this techno music. It's so futuristic. It's so great. I thought that's what the fashion would look like. No, everybody started dressing like Paddington Bear. And it was just I was very disappointed. I thought they should look like the Doyle Band. When I hear techno music, that's the future. That's what I want to see. And we're going to play a video right now. And this is what should we play? What's a good video to play, Derek? We've got we've got the Body Balance.
Body Balanced was the first. I can't remember if Distance actually came out with I think I did when I did the thing for Goth City. I think we did put Distance first, and then later on Distant. And that interesting. Getting terribly sidetracked here. We were going to play some music, but I would say play the Body Balanced. Although if we want to go, I love the Body Balanced track. It's one of my favorites, and I want to say that it originally started off just totally electronic, but then Kelly joined the band and produced such amazing guitar work. It totally transformed the track into what it is now, and I just absolutely love it in that mode. It's just so fantastic. I just totally. He's always had a brilliant ability to really complement the track. But yeah, I'm very fond of Body Balance. Yes, I think this. Yeah, I think.
Well, here it is, folks. Check this out. This is one of my favorites. Doyle Band. And again, we have links. We have clickable links in the description, and there's probably one floating around your screen. I don't know if that's clickable, but the ones in the description are. This is the Body Balanced. Check this out. We're going to play it, then we'll talk about it. And here it is. Check this out.
And my dreams have never come true. So I think it's safe to say I wish I were a woman. Wrapped in grey eyes, wrapped in blackest silk, neck to toe, my waist and hips immaculate, like an obsession. The air, it fits my skin. It fits the body balanced with fatuation. The body balance. The body balance. The body balance. So I'm sick. Sick of all the things that matter to me. These damn girls are all wrong. The body body balance, body, the body balance, the body balance.
And we're back, folks. That was the Body Balanced Jan Doyle Band.
I think we
I
also.
told you it's very,
I will
very
tell you something
cool.
about the track
And,
distance you were thinking of playing. But good friend Catherine Baudelaire, who performs as a meerkat, absolutely brilliant ukulele reworkings of often well-known tracks and often in the goth. It's not necessarily always goth tracks, but she's got such as a reworking of In the Navy, but in the graveyard. I say she, but sorry, I do apologize. It's they. It's just a long time ago they were she, and I sometimes forget. Sorry. I apologize for that. Yeah, it is they. They are non-binary. Yeah,
I have
sorry
the
for
same
that
issue.
slip there, but anyway, yes, they have so many brilliant sort of reworkings of well-known tracks, which often with goth-related lyrics in a somewhat comedic form. But also, they have a brilliant song called "You Can't Catch COVID from Tears," which written obviously around that sort of time period, but it's just it's a track I really want to get a vocal for so I can do a sort of electro version of it, because I absolutely loved it when they did it live. But they opened up my festival in Sheffield last year and often have in the past, but they just have such presence on stage that really connect with the audience, and there's such witticism and cleverness in the writing of what they do. It's just brilliant. And anyway, they heard a radio sort of announcement at a station platform of please keep a 2-meter distance from each other for your own safety and for the safety of others, and they said it make a great industrial track. So then I thought, oh, I'll do that. And so about an hour later I'd written Distance, and that's how that came about. So that's just an interesting tidbit.
Please keep a 2-meter distance from each other for your own safety and for the safety of others. Thank you.
I also would like to mention Play Pretend, even though to me it's proved a pretty popular track, and Gwen loves it, and there's an interesting aspect about that. She said, like, when she first saw it, she got a little bit freaked out because she noticed maybe hang on, this guy seems to be moving a bit like I do on the dance floor, and that's a bit creepy. So then she, for a while, was avoiding watching me because in case she decided she fancied me a bit much, and sadly that happened anyway. And we're just busy making everyone's life hell on Facebook these days by being all horrible and mushy, sweet and lovey-dovey because I love my Gwenny, and she's
No,
there
it's good.
behind me, and
It's
she's
good.
watching now. Hello, my lovely Gwenny. Gwenny, when you pretty coo, good gumdrops, loveliness,
It's
supreme
good. It's
being.
a good thing.
That's what she got.
There you go.
Yeah.
Doesn't get cooler than that. And like I said, like you were talking earlier, how cool the setting is for these. But before we get to the
It's
setting
just
and
what
its
Doncaster
brutalism,
looks like, and it's just fortunate. And maybe that's why I grew up a futurist or something. I don't know.
Absolutely. What are they known for? Do they make cars
these
there
days?
These days
It's known for being a sort of absolute hellhole, really. But no, it's got quite a history. But it's got quite a history because it was famous for train building, fastest steam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so there was some industrial
here, but the fastest steam train ever made was built in Doncaster, the Mallard. Yeah, I think it got to it was capable of 120 or something, but it's like the fastest steam train that had ever been built. That was made here. We also have quite the horse racing history here. The Grand St. Leger race. I don't know if you know of it at all, but
for those who don't know, horse racing's one of my people. It's so funny because like family members and stuff, they're all into sports. They're like, "Oh, what teams do you like? What do you watch?" I'm like, boxing.
Why
and
not
horse
combine
racing.
the two?
I forgot.
You know,
Detroit,
boxing
of course.
and horse racing. It's the future.
That's what
I'm
saying. I'm telling you, I was flipping through the TV one night and I came across this show that was American football, but with women in lingerie. I'm like, I will watch this. This is something that interests me. I would love that than a bunch of sweaty guys rolling around.
An interesting sort of aspect of like wrestling, I think, is generally much more interesting when it's the women because they have fabulous outfits and amazing hair and makeup and that sort of thing, which, you know, absolutely, absolutely relate to that. Obviously, there's been a sort of significant degree of wrestling influence in my image and that sort of thing with wrestling of the past with the Ultimate Warrior and that sort of thing, even though he turned out to be an absolute horror as well, but that's another story. But, and also, if I play a video game, why do I want to be represented or why do I want to be watching a big muscly man when I can create a sort of glamorous woman to look at instead? I just don't understand why supposedly heterosexual men want to look at a big butch man on the screen, but apparently there's some kind of projection.
Weird. It's weird. We were talking, and I know we're not going to get steeped into politics or anything, but you know, I'm telling you, I see all these. I'm on the internet. I'm a human being. I'm around at this time period. I see these posts and stuff where all these guys are calling the one who shall not be named daddy and stuff. I'm like, what the hell is that? Are you kidding me? That's
newly appointed king.
That's a little fey to me. That's all I'm saying. It's a little, and there's nothing wrong with that, but take down the rebel, put the rainbow one up. Just be true to yourself. Call it like it is. I don't know. It's a weird time we live in. But the cool thing is I see your act, I see your performance, and I'm like, the future's finally arrived, folks. This is the
for a long time.
I've
It's
been wanting.
insurrection
I've been
near
waiting
futurism,
to
and you
happen.
can't see it at the minute. But over on my wall over there, I won't really rotate the camera around because there's far too much stuff lying around everywhere in here, which is cunningly hidden right now. But I didn't say that. That's totally not true. Honest. But on my wall, which is seen many times on my live streams and stuff, it says insurrection near futurism there.
Yeah, folks. And for those who don't know, who are thinking about doing a podcast or whatever, something you learn very early when things are working, don't touch anything, because
Everything
if you
will go
move
wrong,
something
most
in the
definitely.
slightest, that can all change.
If I am to say a little bit more about play pretend, if we are indeed going to, there is the intention to play it, I think with that, this sort of anthem to imagination and creativity. It's about imagining what you want to be and what you can be. And as I say quite often I have a bit of a routine with when doing the Body Balanced EP live, that I do quite a lot of talking between the tracks. There's kind of very similar script, so to speak,
That's
each
cool.
time in my mind. But like I say, it's like without all this creativity and all these people who dedicate their time to imagining all the shows we watch on Netflix, on Amazon, and all the films and that, where will we be without imagining more than what is? And that's what I try to be. I don't want to be just Derek. I want to present an escape, something more, something to dream towards and be. It's not just about being me on the stage. To me, it's very much about what can be and that sort of thing, and that's very much important to me. Imagination and dreaming of a greater life and that sort of thing.
Here it is, folks. This is what we're talking about. This is Play Pretend. It's one of my favorite tracks. It's one of my favorite tracks of the year. And I know everybody's going, yeah, it's February, Jamie. It's February. But I'll bet you know what? Let's meet up in December and I'll say the same thing because it's really good. Here it is.
Visit worlds they'll never be, science fiction or fantasy. Go on a journey of imagination, be just what we want to be. Stories are there, fact and fiction, with exotic lands and brave people there to be told, to ease the tension of the life we live in. For example, don't remind me in your songs that I'm somewhere I don't belong. There's more to life than just the basic facts, so let me play pretend. I want sci-fi dreams and laser beams, so let me play pretend. I wanna be told it's a mystery, to tell the world that I wanna be free. Live on things and dreams are made of, an escape from the horrors of this service of death. After all this, if I just can't get enough, I'll go out searching for the meaning of love. Use imagination in this computer world, before we're robots and our dreams are killed. Don't remind me in your songs that I'm somewhere I don't belong. There's more to life than just the basic facts, so let me play pretend. I want sci-fi dreams and laser beams, so let me play pretend. While it's important not to bury our heads in the sand and ignore injustice and inequality in the world, there are times when we need to celebrate and indulge imaginative thought. Art and creativity in life is just as vital for our overall well-being. So please, allow this indulgence. Play pretend. Remind me in your songs that I'm somewhere I don't belong. There's more to life than just the basic facts, so let me play pretend. I want sci-fi dreams and laser
And we're back, folks. I did not lie. I did not lie. I was so transfixed when that track was playing. You'll notice I barely moved at all because I was just in a trance. I was zoned into it. No, it's one of my favorite things. That is what the future was supposed to look like. That is what the future was supposed to look like. I'm just saying. And instead, it's people on YouTube with beards. It's sad. It's sad. But I have hope. I have hope. Thanks to Doyle Band.
Yeah.
It's so true, Derek. It is so true. You brought some sunshine into
it's all
dystopian
about
land.
a form of
And
sort
that's
of
cool.
theatre and imagination and just presenting some kind of show. That's what it's all about in the end. Sometimes it's goth, sometimes it's a bit more punk, and sometimes it's the sort of more futuristic thing. It's just whatever sort of takes my fancy and what seems apt to the event at the time. I have to say the Body Balanced one is a lot of fun to do, but there is a lot of enjoyment in the goth stuff,
as I understand
recently,
it,
for sure.
You had mentioned that you almost have a spoken word type thing in addition. See, that's a show to me. When I go out, if I get gussied up and go out, I want to see a show. I've been to so many shows in my life. I'm an old man. Of course, I've been to a lot of shows. I spent a couple decades hanging out in nightclubs. But the thing is, I hate being disappointed when you see a band. God bless them. You see a band. And they have absolutely no show. It's just they're sitting there with a guitar, and it's Christ, I'm spending money on this. I could have stayed home playing the CD.
Performance. It's not
I could put
good
some
enough
lights
just
on.
hearing the music live.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than that, surely. That's what I always feel. And that's why there's a very thought out specific flow to each set. It's the Body Balanced live set is a very carefully thought out gradual evolution of style from the darker beginnings to the more ridiculous fun at the end. I like to end with Yes Sir I Can Boogie because it's so much fun and that sort of thing. And sometimes when people don't know,
the crowd loved it. You watched that video, you put those clips from
some
live
of that
shows
interesting.
and
And you
digging
happen
it,
to know,
baby.
as you're someone who's very familiar with the music scenes and that sort of thing, and you're connected with a fair few people in the UK in that, of the Infest Festival. Yeah.
I've heard of it. I have not
It's
seen
generally a sort
anything
of
it.
goth industrial type. It's been in
That's the one
Bradford
in
for
Sheffield,
many
right?
years, but I think this year it's moved to Manchester. But anyway, some of that video, they have previously had a karaoke room, and one year that I actually went with Martin of Attrition, I actually got them to plug in my phone and play Yes Sir I Can Boogie, so I could do that as opposed to proper karaoke. So some of that video, I think the bits where I'm wearing a t-shirt, that's me doing it at Infest.
No.
I know it's hard though sometimes. And the amount of it's not easy being a performer because of the mental health side that sort of tends to come with it a lot of the time. The amount of time I've been lying awake for a few hours in the middle of the night agonizing about everything that I do, and sometimes a lack of popularity and success after a feeling I put my whole body into trying to put on a performance, and sometimes it's just felt like I sometimes felt like I'm rejected and not wanted, and people don't want what I've got to offer, and I agonize for hours on end in the middle of the night sometimes, and it's really hard, the amount of sort of depression and stuff that kind of goes along with trying to present yourself and that sort of thing. So I appreciate hugely when someone such as yourself does actually take an interest. I'm not bothered about being considered someone absolutely. I just want to be appreciated. That I'm not wanting to try and make myself make out I'm the new Bowie, I'm the most amazing god of music ever. No, I just want to, that was good. That's all I want. That's all I'm really bothered about. I don't need to be idolized. I just want to, you're good, but I'd like to have a bit more of an audience, please.
I would say you're a bit more than good. I think you're really good at what you do. And if you ever have one of those moments, just know that there's a cat in Florida, South Florida, that thinks you're.
I know there's a
got
cat
it,
in St.
man.
Louis
Got
that
it
thinks
going
I've got
on.
it going on. Anyway. An actual literal one.
Sammy. Yeah.
Zammy, not
Exactly. Me and
Sammy.
Sammy, man.
Zam.
We're the fan club.
With a
Zammy.
Z, yes.
Zammy.
Zammy Gilbert Stardust,
Yes,
I think
got
it
it.
is, or is it Stardust Gilbert? I can't remember now. He's just somewhat named by it.
Yes. Something like that.
And he is a cat and a rock star, really, I think. He's quite definitely the most magnificent, golden, glorious being the universe has ever known. He does enjoy when I'm on the phone. Sammy Gilbert Stardust, I thought it was. It's often when I'm on the phone to Gwen. Oh, it is hyphenated, by the way. Gilbert Stardust. Important to note that. You can be friends with him on Facebook. I would say that, but he doesn't seem to be accepting any friend requests anymore. I don't know why, but he's on there. But yeah, I guess he's too big for friends on Facebook these days. He does promote. I mean, I'm talking to Gwen on the phone. This modern age, it is quite wonderful that despite the fact that we're in other countries, we can call each other via the interweb nets for free. Just think of how it would have been like 20 years ago. The fact that
10 years ago, when I was doing I told you our we know a similar guy, the same guy, this guy Tony that we both know.
Tony of Naked Lunch.
Tony Mayo,
Naked Lunch,
coolest,
fabulous
was
band.
my first guest. Yeah, and rabies and all that. Oh, and so good. The thing was, is I think Tony wrote a check to call in because he called and because on my old show the guests had to call in, and that's why I didn't have that many from Europe. They're like, you're having guests from all over the world now, and I'm like, yeah, because nobody has.
The thing is, later on, I'll probably be having a video call with Gwen as well. That's another incredible invention of the modern age.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yes, we all found out some people we liked were raped on Facebook when all this shit started happening. But the other side of the coin is you can, we're literally me and you right now.
I'm 4,000 from 4,500 from Gwen, I believe. It must be about 3.5 from you, maybe. I'm not sure. Because you're Florida, aren't you?
Something like that. And we're just sitting here, just up from Miami. Yeah, it's very true, and it's so cool. So I think, especially when these times start getting you down, because man, they get me down. All the young people I say, they're like, Jamie, quit doom scrolling, quit watching this shit. You're yelling at the TV like somebody's dad watching a baseball game. You just settle down. They're right. You got to take a break from it and look at the positive.
I've got a
Find
song
some
coming
positive
out
stuff out there.
some this year. I'm not sure exactly when. I've got another guitarist who's who came up with the chord sequence for it, who's played with me quite a few times, Mr. Hex. He's got a very good internet YouTube channel, mostly about videotapes and all manner of things, though, really, music videotapes. But he's a real sort of, it's much more sort of heavy rock solos and that sort of thing guitarist, but he's absolutely brilliant. He loves being part of John Doyle Band as well, and he came up with the chord sequence of that. I'm still waiting for this new track I'm doing. I'm still waiting for him to record a guitar solo, but he's had a bit of stuff going off lately, so he hasn't really had a chance. But the track I've done is sort of, in effect, protest at Drumpf. It's a song about the situation, but at the same time, it's suggesting don't give up the fight, because we can't ever give in. I mean, it says like there's supposed to be United States of Kamala, but instead we got another golden shower.
Yeah, and it's very true. It's very
like,
true.
Don't give in.
I'm telling you,
it's not over. I can't remember all the lyrics right now, but anyway, there's like a preview of it on YouTube somewhere in a sort of demo version, which is hopefully going to get performed sometime soon. And that.
Yeah, it's crazy. We got our house in 2016, right before all this started, and my wife said we can move to Nora. I'm like, no, we can't. No, we can't. We just bought a house. Can't do that. We're stuck right now. And yeah, plus I don't know if they'd let me in Norway. They would say, that he's too much. Get out of here. Get out of here, crazy hair. No, but I like what you're doing. I tell the kids I mentor, I shouldn't say kids, I tell the new artists that I mentor, art, no matter what kind of art it is, whether you're a musician, a painter, you're baking bread, whatever you're doing, you have two choices. there's two venues with the job. You can comment on
Yeah.
the world, or you can distract people.
I don't
from
know.
the world.
I think
That's
you can.
it.
I think you
One or the
can.
other.
Yeah, I
And
do. The thing is, I
Derek
do.
does both.
There are tracks I do that have a bit more political bite, and there's such as Snake, which is one of my more punky ones. It's they eat and eat as their power grows higher, wine and meat. These snakes grow slyer. They can't resist taking all they can. They can kill their fellow man. Edge there, and there's Out of Living Dead. But the thing is also I'll do something like Yes Sir I Can Be. So yeah, I do think you can do both at the same time. It doesn't have, we need less choice between one or the other. Be everything you want to be. Don't restrict yourself. And when I'm so even though I'm a performer myself, I hope to bring other people along with me, so to speak, as well. That's why I started putting on, I've been putting on live events since about 2013. I originally started with the sort of more electronic promotion before moving into goth. I'm so connected with the goth scene for some strange reason. I've got a lot of tendencies that way, despite my very, very varied sort of tendencies of more popish tones at times, and then goth at other. It's me. I try.
Well, you're involved with that
Night Shift. Join the
Night Shift event,
nightshift.uk or
right?
join the Night Shift on Facebook, whatever. And I've put on for 4 years. There was a gap because of COVID, but I did it like 2 years in a row. Then there was a gap, I think, and then it was, and again 2 years in a row. I've done it. I did it last year and I did it the year before, and there was a gap for a year or two, I think, due to COVID. But I try and bring along. I try, even though it's nominally a goth event that I do in the Black Midwinter, as I like to call it, which is a play of In the Bleak Midwinter, which very few people seem to get. I'm having a lot of fun with that, but no one seems to get my immense intellectual humor. But yeah, I try to bring into
goth coming out.
Sort of, I push the boundaries and try and find people that I think are interesting and exciting. And even though it is nominally a goth festival, I like to just have things that will excite and interesting. In last year, I had Meganoki from New Mexico. I think she's currently based, and she's more trip hop kind of stuff, and she just does some incredible music. I first put her on in about 2017 in London when she was asking lots of people, can you give me my debut London gig? Can you help me out? And no one would help her out. I tried to direct some people, but they ignored her. At the time, I wasn't wanting to do any gig booking, but I couldn't leave her hanging when I'd heard what she does, and it's so good, and she's absolutely phenomenal. And I've given her a few gigs, but last year at the festival was just one of the best times I've ever been able to give to her, which I just appreciate her music so much. I just want to give these artists such as her and such as Machine Rocks or Siren Spell, as she is now, Ariel, who also does Siren's Cave events in London, Ariel Undine. She's just phenomenal as well. And the Wattingers, who are Steam Slaughterhouse Blues. It's electronics. It's got like electronic backing, but then it's got some live bass and some live spoons playing even. They're just absolutely phenomenal. They're just amazing. And just these artists that inspire, that I think are exciting, that I see around in the scene, I just try and bring them in front of people and tell other people, look, this is amazing. You've got to see this. It's not just about me. I just want the whole thing together. Everyone just collaborating, and let's put on something together.
Well, the tide raises all boats. And folks out there, I don't care where you live. I don't care where you're at.
As long as it's
Support your
interesting,
local
of course.
scene.
If it's so
if you want to see, if you're support the interesting stuff, and they'll
There's
more
amazing
interesting
artists
stuff.
around.
You know what I mean?
We've got someone who's going places very much. I think Byronic Sex in Exile. He just was so gothy, it's ridiculous. He's just so a solo artist, but absolute fabulous artist who is really real thinks about his art. And Holy Grail, a massively exciting band from the sort of Newcastle area, and like Astrophone, more electronic stuff from Leeds area. These artists I find so hugely thrilling and brilliant. I just adore them. You know, I just. And Lilac Underworld is a really interesting
Well,
and
it's cool that
exciting
they
new
got
artist
you in
as
their
well.
corner.
I think she's got some really interesting. Let's just bring people up and let's just take the risk and do stuff. And I'm looking forward to performing in St.
Absolutely.
Louis on the 2nd of
Absolutely.
May. With I performed there.
You heading
I
down?
go for Gwen's birthday. You see,
Oh,
that's in May,
cool.
and so I've done a performance for it. I gave her
I
a
gotcha.
massively brilliant, possibly best birthday she's ever had. She said last year when we did a performance there with Bren Vella, another brilliant artist. I think I loved her work. This year performing with Gary Robert Community. He's really good, much more goth post-punk tone, but very good. I'm also playing in
the
New
Midwest
York
crowd
with
is crazy.
Flesh
Like I said, I grew up
Junkies
in Detroit.
and Chris Cyanide. So
Nice.
I get around.
Wow. How cool is that? That people, I don't know so much. That's very true. I drove from Boston to Philadelphia to see Sisters of Mercy with 8 people in a hatchback. Yeah, that happened. But I was going to say, people in the Midwest, man, they'll drive. I used to go to Chicago like almost every weekend just to see bands and DJs and stuff. And that was a 6-hour each way drive. So I would say we have links to all things Jan Doyle Band and Night Shift and all this kind of stuff, and Derek and everything in the description below, folks. Like and share, follow this stuff so you can keep up. And then you know where he's going to be playing and whatnot, who he's going to be playing. It's going to be a good show. Check this shit out, man. Check this shit out. And the other thing, we have links to the Spotify. Add Jan Doyle Band to your playlists and shit. Help kick that algorithm in the tail and help out with that. And lastly, your friends are your friends because you guys all have similar interests. That's why you're friends, man. If you find a band that you think or somebody that you think is really cool, let your friends know about them because they're going to think they're cool too. That these people work. Derek works real hard, and it's not just on music.
I've done quite a lot of
whole,
video interview and music shows on YouTube. You can check out Futurist TV. And I've also done as Night Shift Goth TV an interview with Catherine Blake, who you may know from Miranda Sex Garden and the Medieval Babes, and these days Witching Tale and the Red Barn. She's recently started. Yeah, she's a massively inspiring, incredible artist. She's fantastic.
My advice to you out there, folks.
Yeah, you'll struggle with that, to be honest. I'm not really accepting friends right now. You can always follow my band and Night Shift. I'm sorry, I'm just being really awkward. I've got so many friends on Facebook. Unless I've interacted with you, I'm trying to not add many more friends.
But I like your post, Eric. I like your post. You're really good at it. Better than I am.
Stuff
better than I am.
It's like engaging. I just post nonsense most of the time. I don't know. And far too much.
But it's good nonsense. I love it.
I just feel also I need to prove I'm still in. I am actually fully in my sort of futurist get up. Just feel. Yeah. I'm. And I've got my leggings on as well. Just felt it was important to note that I was actually in the full outfit that you see. And
there you.
I might have come out. So
his mic went out. Shake your mic,
I'm afraid.
Derek.
So I don't know if you maybe want to wrap things up here. But yes. Anyway.
Yes.
This has been.
Yes. And how we're going to wrap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
I can just about hear things again now.
But we're going to play The Distance as our closing track, and it's a phenomenal video. We're going to play that, and folks, like I said, links below. Use them. And thank you so much for taking time to be on the show.
Sorry,
I really appreciate it.
45
really
minutes, but I can be a little bit of an awkward one for
I know.
Having lots of things to say. I've got things to say, damn it.
I couldn't stop.
Listen to me.
That's fine. That is fine. Thank you so much. You're cool, turned up to 10.
Okay.
And folks,
Thank you.
we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.
This has been pop art painter Jamie Roxx's Pop Roxx Radio Talk Show. It has been executive produced by Jamie Roxx, recorded at his studio in Deerfield Beach in South Florida. All rights reserved by Pop Roxx Limited. Hannah Oli, Pop Roxx Radio. Estás escuchando Jamie Roxx de Pop Roxx Radio. Manténganse al tanto.
Hej, det här är Hicks från Sverige och ni lyssnar till Pop Roxx Radio med Jamie Roxx.